Hello, my crafty friends. Well, I've been doing some thinking about things. Specifically, the 100 Things Challenge that I started April 1st. And it's been 2.5 months, and I do things all the time, and I'm only a little over halfway through. And that made me think about how many things I'm doing every week that I haven't been counting in my things. Um, when Rebecca talked about doing this challenge, she said you could count an art journal page, or you could count a bunch of tags that you did one day, or you could count it however you wanted to. But everything that you do that you use from your stash counts towards the 100 things. Well, I've been doing things I haven't counted towards this because they were parts of other projects or pieces of a project. Like, for example, let's just go in order here, because I'm going to count them today. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, my everything book. I have put several things in my everything book. I've made collages. I've done things in here that, like this, for instance, was part of a tutorial. And trying to think what else I did. Here was a page I did with some Happy Mail. Of course, Happy Mail is different. I mean, it's not something I bought. It's something that, once it was given to me, it was part of my stash. But I've worked in this book several times over the past couple of months, and I haven't put any of those times, I didn't count them towards my things. If I had, I would probably have 4 more things done than the 52 I've already got done. So I'm counting this working in this book as number 53. I'm not going to count each thing I've done. I'm just going to count this book, working in this book, as thing number 53. Let me get that out. I'll just stick it back over here. It'll be fine. I've worked in this cardboard book through the month of April. And I worked in it several different times. I didn't count that as any things, but I'm counting that as a thing. Oops, I got out of order though. Okay, let me get back into order, because I've got a list over here of things. The everything book is thing 53. The Abandoning Perfection Journal. I use stuff out of my stash every single time I do this. I have worked in this book 11 times in the past 2.5 months. 11 times. If I counted each one of those projects, each one of those times that I worked in here as a thing, I would have another 11 things done. I'm not going to do that, but I'm just showing you that I could. And I would be getting done really quick if I did all this. But I'm going to count this as a thing. So I'm going to count this as thing 54, even though I've done it a bunch of different times on different days. And let me see. I don't think I have this one actually down there. I don't. So this one I'll have to add in later. But next on the list, I have this. Okay, this is all stuff I used out of my stash, working on this journal with Tanya. We've worked on it twice already. We've made pages. But I didn't count those times that I was working on this as things. And I could have, but I'm going to count this journal as one thing. So this will be thing 55, even though it's not finished yet. Since I'll be working on it while I'm doing this challenge, and I'll probably finish it before I finish the challenge, I'm going to call it a thing. So that's number 55. I've done 2 different tutorials using wax seal supplies, and I made these things when I did the first tutorial. and a couple more, but I either gave them away or I'm not sure where they are. But and some of them were in, books, other books. So that tutorial, I'm going to count, because I used a bunch of stuff out of my stash for it, I'm going to count that as number 56. I just did another tutorial about how to use the wax seals, having made them previously and then gluing them on. And I did that in a couple of different places also. And so I'm going to count that tutorial as number 57. Because I'm never going to get finished if I don't count the things that I'm doing towards this project. Because I'm doing so many other things that are not specifically for the 100 Things Project. I hope that makes sense. This is kind of my train of thought today. Okay, I'm doing iCads. I'm doing an iCad every day. Every day. And I'm not counting each of those iCads, even though they're each a separate thing I'm doing each different day. I'm not counting them as things, each one. But I am going to count a week's worth as one thing. So tomorrow, when that video comes out for my iCad, the second week's worth of iCads, that will mean that I've done 2 things worth of iCads. So I'm going to count those as number 58 and 59. And then each week, as I do another set of iCads for the week, I'm going to count that as another thing. I don't know that I will actually say that each time, but I've decided I'm going to count a week's worth of iCads as one thing because it's things that I'm doing with stuff out of my stash. So I'm going to count it. And I have been counting things like this. This is another skein of yarn that I spun. This is one that I made a bat of, and then I spun it up. The camera doesn't show you all the colors in it, but it's really got a lot of colors that are subtle, but I really like it. It's very soft and squishy, and it's yummy yarn, I think. This is a 3-ply yarn that was spun with a long draw, and so I'm counting this as number 60. Number 61 is the cardboard book that I brought out earlier and then realized it was later on my list. I worked in it several times during April. I used stuff out of my stash for each one of those times. I'm not going to count each of those times because I would have to go back and look them up and all of that. But like the other journals that I'm working in, other things that I've done, I'm just going to count it as one thing. And so this will be number 61. And then every week for a couple of years or more, I've been working doing these Bible studies, and I do a journal page every week. Every week. And I haven't counted any of those towards my 100 things either. But they're each a separate project for a separate verse, for a separate study. So I could count all of those as things. And I'm tempted to do that because it's going to take forever to get finished if I don't start counting all these things I'm doing as as part of my things. But for right now, I'm just going to call this book another thing and call it number 62. Another book I've been working in at different times during this is this book. I've put some stuff down. I've done some painting. And I haven't been counting each time I work in this as a thing either. So I'm going to count working in this book as thing 63. Now, I don't know. Hold on one minute. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is just kind of my thought process about why it's taken me so long to get through this challenge. Tell me what you think. If you're doing the 100 Things Challenge, are you counting each art journal page as a thing? I know that was, something we could do. This I think the pages in here definitely would qualify. And I am thinking about going back and seeing how many of those I've done since I started this challenge. I think it would be 10 or 11. And counting those, because they are each separate projects for separate studies. Because if I don't count things like that I'm doing all the time, using stuff out of my stash, this is going to drag on forever. And so tell me in the comments, do you think I should use each of those pages as a thing? Should I add those 12 instead of just adding this as one? 10, 11. I think it's 11. 11 instead of 1. Let me know, because this really is going on a lot longer than I expected it to. But because I'm doing all of these other things all the time, I don't have extra time to do more thing projects. I hope that makes sense. And let me know, your views on this. I'm just thinking out loud. I was getting a little depressed because it's taking me so long. And I was like, it shouldn't take that long to do 100 things. But then I realized that I'm spending time every single week doing things that I wasn't counting. And in the form of iCads, it's every single day, So those are small projects, and so that's one reason why I'm going to count them a week's worth at a time. But anyway, my brain was just going on about this morning. And I thought, I'm just going to get on and I'm just going to ask what people think about this. If you're not doing the challenge yourself, you can still tell me what you think. The purpose of the challenge, for those of you who don't know about the 100 Things Challenge, Rebecca at Dances with Pit Bulls, I think it's right, does a challenge. I think she's done it a couple of times before this year, where she makes 100 things before she buys stuff. And I decided, that's a good way to do some stash busting. And so I've been participating in this. I started in April 1st. Anyway, the point of it is not to be dogmatic or to be get depressed by never getting finished. I know that was not her point. Her point is to be conscious of all the things you have around you to use and to use them and not think you have to go out and buy new stuff for each project. I do that a lot anyway, but anyway, I was feeling like I really need, especially since earlier in the year, January, February, and March, I spent a lot of money buying things. Tanya and I both did, and we swapped things back and forth, and I knew I needed to just stop buying things and just work with the things that I've got. And so I started this challenge, but I didn't expect to be where I'm at right now in it. And I had underestimated the amount of time I have to work on things for this challenge, because I am doing all of these other things. There's lots of things going on in this video. Sorry about that. Anyway, I would like to hear your thoughts. So if you have any thoughts, comment on the video and let me know what you think. God bless you, and you have a great day.